We are continuing on the halachot of Tisha B'Av, and we mentioned that there is the 5 inuyim, 5 different restrictions that we have on Tisha B'Av, which is normally what a Tanit Tzibur was supposed to look like. It's just that nowadays, Baruch Hashem, because of the Yeshua, the salvation, the partial salvation that we have had, we don't necessarily treat every one of the communal fasts like a Tanit Tzibur should be. We only have Tanit of Tisha B'Av, which we deal with it with a full force of a Tanit Tzibur, hence the 5 restrictions. Now, simply put, the Isur of Rechitza is not just that you cannot take a shower or bathe, but you can't even wash your hands or stick your finger into a stream of water for pleasure. Anything that's needed for cleanliness, obviously, a person could do, but bathing, washing with cold or hot water, it will be prohibited on Tisha B'Av. Even to extend your finger under the water would be a problem. Now, if your hands are dirty, they got muddy, they got dirty, and so on. There's someone that used the bathroom and needs to wash their hands for cleanliness, for just simple, washing off the dirt off of their hand. Obviously, mutar lirchos lehavir halichluch. Anything that's needed for taking off the dirtiness off of your hand is mutar. And the netilat yadayim, that's not necessarily for cleanliness, but is for reasons beyond cleanliness as well. You do the ikaradin. The ikaradin, Maram Bet Yosef says, the name of Aseh al-Mugim in halachot of netilat yadayim, that's al kishrei etzbaot, until the point of connection with of the fingers to the palm of your hand, and that's where you're going to be stopping the water. You'll ikaradin yotze netilat yadayim, and that's that. Now, many Hasidim v'anshe ma'aseh at the end of Yom Kippurim, at the end of Tisha B'Av, you'll find them right away. When the Ta'anit finishes, instead of being busy with eating, you'll see them running to the sink and they do a full netilat yadayim because they couldn't do it the whole day, and they want to be machmir, to get their hands clean in the best way possible, first and foremost, before anything else happens. But nevertheless, on the day of Tisha B'Av, just like Yom Kippurim, when we do netilat yadayim, when necessary, we do it until kishrei ha'etzbaot. And that is also in the netilat yadayim, the morning netilat yadayim, we do the same way. Ad sof kishrei ha'etzbaot ve'hakohanim she'olin leduchan. The kohanim will go up to the duchan, like the Sfaradim have, and the Yerushalayim, the minhag is that even on Tisha B'Av they go to duchan. Then they could do a full netilat yadayim, because that's the sorech mitzvah. This is how it was in the mikdash, by kiddush yadayim v'raglayim of the kohanim, and therefore, because it's not l'shem ta'anug, it's not that they're doing it for pleasure, and the structure of the netilat yadayim of kohanim in the mikdash was a full hand, we keep it the same way, and they could do a full netilat yadayim even on the day of Tisha B'Av. Now, a person that is eating on Tisha B'Av because he's sick. Now, we mentioned before that even a choleh she'im bo sakana could eat on Tisha B'Av, and he could eat a normal meal. We spoke about the woman after birth up until 30 days and so on. So imagine you have someone that is not fasting and is eating on Tisha B'Av. Can they do netilat yadayim normally, or do they have to also do al kishrei etzbaot? So the halacha is they could do until the full hand, a regular netilat yadayim, even though that is on Tisha B'Av, because this is not, again, this is rechitza of mitzvah, and it's not l'shem ta'anug, it's a sorech mitzvah, and therefore it would be mutar. Now, a person that gets up in the morning and has some lifluf around the eyes, that wants to clean off after waking up, and usually they wash it with water, They could do that on Tisha B'Av as well. You wake up, you have stuff around your eye that needs to be cleaned off. Usually you're able to remove them with just your wet hands after you wash your hands. You can remove them, and if that suffices, you could do that. Otherwise, you could use a little water to clean them off as well. It's not just the hands that you could clean off if they're dirty, but it's your face and other body parts as well. Now, women who are cooking on Tisha B'Av for the Seudah after Ta'anit, many cook after Chatzot of the day already. They start preparation and cooking for the evening time, and they need to sometimes wash the meat that they're going to be cooking. Again, many communities have the minhag of being lenient already for Motzai Tisha B'Av. They eat meat. Our community has been one of those. Others, they wait until at least the Chatzot of the next day, or the entire day of Yud B'Av as well. But if they have to wash certain items for cooking, and then their hands are going to get wet, then it's mutar. Again, you don't have to be too careful that, I can't get my palm of hand wet. If you need something for the process of cooking, preparation of the food, that's mutar. Now, if a person comes from a travel, nowadays you don't have this the same way they had it back in a time. Back in a time when you didn't have asphalt and you didn't have the roads the way we have them, and people walking and horseback riding and so on. And by the time you got to your destination, you were dusty. Your feet definitely were full of dust. So if you have something of that nature, then it's mutar to clean them with water. In order again, this is considered just like having dirty hands. Here you have dirty feet, and you could rinse them off to make yourself prepared. And same would be for a person that's going to greet his Rebbe, his rabbi, and he wants to be presentable, or is going to greet his father after a while of not having seen them, and so on. If you have a matamayim, if you have a body of water in front of you that you have to pass through in order to be going to see your father or your Rebbe, over b'mayim at savaro ve'eno choshesh. You could go through the water if need be for sorech mitzvah. Again, this is a whole Gemara in Masechet Yuma towards the end, and Daf Ayin Zayin, and Marash Charuch here in Chot Tisha B'Av in Sivatav Kuf Nun Dalid Paskins that Gemara as well. A person could go through water in order to do a mitzvah of that nature. And obviously, the second item in the prohibitions of Tisha B'Av is Isur Sicha. Okay, so you don't put lotion and creams and oils rubbing on your body. But a person that has had injuries, and now you have to treat the injuries with creams and so on, that obviously is mutar. You don't have to even change it. You could do it the way it's needed for your healing process of the injuries, and that would be mutar as well. Now, wearing shoes, the prohibition against leather shoes is even if you have a shoe that is not a leather in the sole, let's say, is plastic or even wooden. You have like sandals that the bottom could be from Crocs, could be from wood, could be from plastic, but the top for comfort, the top straps are from leather. That also is included in the prohibition of neilat sandal on Tisha B'Av, and even if you're wearing socks beneath them, so the leather is not even touching your skin, still would be prohibited. Does not make a difference in that way. Now, that does not mean that you can't be comfortable. For instance, if you stand, can you stand on pillows? It's pretty comfortable. So put a few pillows and you're walking around on pillows. That would be mutar. It's not what Chazal answered in Neilat Sandal. It would not be now comfortable shoes. You have like all these like New Balance and Hoka and other fancy shoes that no leather shoe has ever come close to that level of comfort. It becomes a bit of machloket. Meikaradin definitely is mutar. There are those who are machmir, but again, in Tisha B'Av is less room to be stringent because is at the end of the day is the Rabbanan. On Yom Kippurim, you find many people who try to stay away from that and wear regular slippers that our forefathers used years past, and they stay away from wearing the comfortable shoes. Again, everyone should ask their local Moreh Hora'ah what exactly the proper conduct would be. But again, on Tisha B'Av, there's definitely more room to be lenient, to have a regular sneaker, even though that it is comfortable. Now, again, this is the way you understand this halakha, whether or not you have to feel the difficulty of the hard floor underneath your feet or not, is irrelevant of Hilchot Tefillah. In other words, if you are standing on pillows and on cushions and whatnot, you don't want to daven like that. Tefillat Shemona Esrei, that already looks like Ga'ava. You're standing in front of Hashem, davening, you want it to be Mima'amakim Karaticha Hashem. The Pasuk says, you want to be from Ma'amakim, from a place of humility and anava, so therefore you should not be standing on karim v'ksatot, on cushions and pillows when davening, even though that's not an issue of Neilat Sandal, but it is a sensitivity to be had. Now, how about minors that are not bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah yet? Do they have the same restriction of not wearing sandal, not wearing leather shoes? Halacha is no, they don't have that. They could wear meikaradin, they could wear leather shoes, but at the same time, it is good to educate them when they are of age that could understand Churban Bet HaMikdash, they could understand the mourning, concept of mourning over a Bet HaMikdash. It's a proper thing to educate them. It's like, we don't wear comfortable shoes, we don't wear leather shoes. That's something that's proper to do, even though that they don't have mikaradin, an obligation. Now, this goes with the fasting as well. Again, they're not necessarily chayav to fast until they're older, especially now that the weakness has become more prevalent. Don't have the same strength of the bodies as yesteryear. But nevertheless, even if they fast, the parents have to be very vigilant to stay on top of the kids, to make sure that they're not overdoing themselves. Sometimes a kid, especially those with pride, they fast and they want to show that they're fasting and they're big boys, they're big girls, and they could endanger themselves with dehydration and whatnot. So therefore, parents should be vigilant to not to overly promote this, especially in a way that they would now feel uncomfortable saying that they are not doing well. Rabbi Yosef Yili Halevi writes in his Sefer, others as well, that when he was a child, Rabbi Kalfon Kohen, especially, he writes a story about his first time that he fasted, and he says he almost died. He was so dehydrated, and he was embarrassed to tell his father that he was not doing well. So a little kid, that's it's very important. Even if they're bar bat mitzvah and they're not doing well, they should open their fast. This is the Rabbanan. There's something to be vigilant. Everyone has to know their kids. Again, this is Ma'amara Muskar, parentheses, but it's important parentheses for people to be mindful of. But at the same time, the shoes that are not leather shoes, but they have a little, pom-poms type of thing. On the top, they have for design a little strap of leather, which is not serving any real purpose in the shoe. It's not straps of the shoe that holds it on your feet. It's just a decor for the shoe. Then it's mutar. That's not a problem, because again, that's not protecting you in any way. Okay. There is a leniency in the halachot of wearing shoes on Tisha B'Av, if you're going a long distance, and it's very difficult to walk with slippers, whatever it is. Like, you don't have comfortable slippers, something you could walk with it the distance of an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is that you have to walk, and you can't walk barefoot, then a person could even wear sandal, could wear the regular shoes, leather shoes, in order to be able to walk the distance that they need to walk. Again, nowadays, it's much easier to have shoes that are not leather and they're comfortable enough to walk long distance. That's not, obviously, should not be abused. At the same time, this was very prevalent in the time of Chazal, that you only had leather shoes. There was no, before elastic and plastic and all those things, those leather shoes, that's what it was, right? And if you didn't, if you wore slippers or whatever it is, among the goyim, people would make fun of you or whatnot. So in that case, there are those who say it's mutar to go with your regular shoes if they are going to mock you. But Maran in Bet Yosef, in Shcharuch, Lemaaseh says that you cannot be lenient, you should be machmir, so they'll mock. That's fine. That's not ground to be lenient if it's comfortable and you could walk without the na'alayim. And all the mitzvot that we have applicable to Avel, and we do them on Tisha B'Av, they are asur the entire day. So even Eilat Sandal, the Pele Yoetz actually writes very disappointed with the minhag of some people in where he was, in Turkey. And he says some people, they in the afternoon of Tisha B'Av, they come with their sandal, with their shoes. So there's absolutely no heter for that. The only difference is that you can sit on the chair after Chatzot. That's all. There's no other real difference between after Chatzot and before Chatzot. And we don't say Miksat Hayom Kigulo. We don't have that concept of a little bit of the day is considered like the rest of the day. And therefore, people who are mekel to come to the mincha of Tisha B'Av afternoon with the regular shoes, you have to stop them. You have to gently tell them that this is not a right conduct, and tell them the importance of this. Again, it's one of my general things that I say on Tisha B'Av. This is kedai hu bet Elokeinu. It is very much worth it. Very much worth it. 3 weeks a year, or 10 days, 9 days a year, or 1 day a year, as far as Tisha B'Av itself is concerned, the height of the restrictions, it's kedai to remember our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. These are yamim tovim. These are the dates on the calendar that have been set for us to observe, not because we're commemorating, but because we never commemorate things. It's not for commemoration. Otherwise, every day on the calendar has a lot to commemorate. When we have Tisha B'Av set as a Yom Tov, what we are saying with that is that you cannot exist in Galut without observing this. That's what Chazal are telling us. It's very clear. And you have to recognize that without separating ourselves and realizing that this is not our makom, this is not our place. That discomfort by itself is the lifeline, so to speak, of Am Yisrael in Galut. So to take the opportunity of these 3 weeks and the 9 days and the day of Tisha B'Av itself, in the way it should really be taken, that we live it, don't run away from it. People, kind of like the approach of many people is like, I close my eyes and hold my breath and hold my nose, so to speak, go through Tisha B'Av until the time is over, and I have 1 more year to go. That should not necessarily be the approach. The approach is we cherish the opportunity of mourning the Beit HaMikdash, because that's what keeps us sane and safe in our galut, living amongst the goyim, is something very important, and Be'ezrat Hashem will continue the halachot in the days to come.